The dust of ours is not common clay, but a pulverized history of 100,000 footsteps, each treading a path of limestone and sorrow toward a wooden box that held the gravity of a world. He sat there while the sun rose in a pale sliver over the French fields and remained until the stars grew weary of watching the earth, a sentinel of the violet stole, whose only weapon was a whisper. It was not the grandeur of cathedrals that summoned the desperate, nor the ringing of silver bells, but the quiet rasp of a man who ate the bread of the poor and drank the tears of the penitent as if they were wine. In that narrow enclosure of oak and shadow, the air grew thick with the exhale of secrets, the heavy musk of ancient guilts and the sharp, metallic tang of cold remorse that clung to the coats of farmers and the lace of queens alike. He became the filter for a nation's darkness, a human vessel through which the brackish water of sin entered, and the crystalline stream of absolution flowed back into the parched soil of the human spirit. Every hour was a bead on a rosary of exhaustion, a mechanical yet mystical endurance, where the body of Jean-Marie withered while his soul expanded to house the orphans of grace. Imagine the weight of 20,000 days, where the ear is a doorway to the underworld, and the heart is a to the light. He did not hear mere words. He heard the fracturing of glass within the chest, the silent scream of the prodigal, and the dull thud of the soul falling against the floor of its own pride. The number is a mountain, 100,000, a demographic of the broken, a census of the redeemed, each one a unique geography of pain, mapped by the trembling hand of a priest who saw the devil in the corner and God in the eyes of the weeping. He was a gladiator of the internal forum, fighting battles in the silence between a stuttered admission and the raising of 3 fingers and a cross of forgiveness, a man who traded his own sleep for the waking peace of others. The wood of the confessional grew smooth under the friction of so many foreheads pressed against the grating, a physical testament to the friction of the divine meeting the mundane. He knew the smell of the fields, the scent of the forge, and the perfume of the city, all blending into one singular aroma of humanity seeking its origin. There was no room for the vanity of the scholar in the school of the heart. He spoke with the brevity of a man who knows that time is a leaking vessel and eternity is the only shore. When the tempter roared in the night, setting his bed aflame with the fires of malice, the curate merely sighed, for he knew that the salvation of a single drunkard or a lonely widow was worth more than the safety of his own skin. He was a martyr of the year, a saint of the listening silence, proving that the greatest revolution is not found in the thunder of cannons, but in the quiet shattering of a hardened heart under the pressure of unconditional mercy. The story is not written in ink, but in the changed trajectories of lives that arrived in ours as winter and left as spring. Carrying the scent of the lilies, he planted with his prayers 100,000 times. The heavens were forced to open, not because of a king's decree, but because humble man in a tattered casket dared to believe that no soul was too stained for the laundries of paradise. He saw the invisible scars left by the world's cruelty and applied the balm of repentance that felt like a gift. As the decades wore into his bones and the skin of his face became a map of divine compassion, the world realized that the miracle was not that he lived on a few potatoes and no rest, but that he could carry the collective shadow of a century without losing his sight of the sun. Even now, the echo of his ego Te Absolvo vibrates in the stones of that small village, a life-changing frequency that reminds the weary that the door is never locked. The priest is still waiting, and the 100,000 and first soul is always the one that matters most. The ember descent of a Sunday sevening. A clock spills across the waxen floors of the nave, like honeyed oil from a broken jar of alabaster. Here the daylight surrenders its final breath to the creeping violet of the vesper hour, a liturgical twilight, where the architecture of grief meets the geometry of hope. The grand piano stands as a dark leviathan in the transept, its lid propped open, like a wing prepared for a flight that never leaves the earth, but vibrates deep within its iron marrow. Each ivory key is a white tombstone waiting for the touch of a finger to resurrect a memory, a monochromatic between the silence of the cemetery and the resonance of the sanctuary. We gather not to bury the light, but to harvest the shadows left behind by those who have stepped through the thin veil of the tabernacle into the uncreated noon of the Creator. The first movement of our solace is a whisper of felt against string, a soft percussion that mimics the heartbeat of a mother now stilled beneath the parish sod. It is a Christian cartography of the soul, mapping the distance between the last rattling breath and the first Alleluia of the kingdom. The choir inhales the scent of extinguished beeswax and damp stone, their throats forming a collective chalice to hold the vintage of our sorrow. They sing not of the end, but of the transition, a melodic theology where the minor key of the funeral mass dissolves into the major resolution of the resurrection. Each voice is a thread of silver pulled through the needle of the present moment, stitching the names of the departed into the tapestry of the communion of saints. 8 times the melody shifts its weight from the shoulder of mourning to the hip of grace. 8 stations of a musical cross where we find the strength to remain standing. When the earth has claimed its portion, the second psalm arrives with the gravity of Gregorian stone, yet lightened by the piano's cascading arpeggios that fall like rain upon a parched garden. It is the Catholic heart beating in time with the Latin rhythms of the Requiem Aeternam, a plea for perpetual light that ignores the clock on the vestry wall. 7 o'clock is merely a threshold, a chronological gate where the secular week expires and the eternal Sabbath begins its reign in the low register of the bass singers. We navigate the third and fourth echoes with the precision of a rosary being told in the dark. Each note a bead, each pause a prayer for the repose of those who taught us how to sign the cross. The piano does not merely play, it interrogates the silence, asking why the lilies must wither while the stone remains. The choir answers in a polyphonic wave, a sea of human breath that washes over the pews, carrying the scent of incense and the salt of tears. There is no haste in the Sunday evening, only the deliberate unfolding of a grief that has been sanctified by the promise of the empty tomb. We see the faces of the gone in the flickering votives, their features traced in the vibrations of the cello-like hum of the baritones. By the fifth and sixth hymns, the solace has become a tangible garment, a shroud woven of harmony that warms the shivering spirit. The piano's high treble begins to mimic the bells of a distant cathedral, calling the lost home through the fog of their own bereavement. This is the memorial of the mundane made magnificent, the sanctification of ordinary lives that were lived in the quiet corners of the pews. We sing for the bakers and the teachers, the silent fathers and the praying grandmothers. Their legacies now vibrating in the vocal cords of their children. The music is a ladder of Jacob, reaching from the dust of the funeral parlor to the gold of the celestial city. And we climb it with every soaring soprano line. The seventh song is a stillness that speaks louder than the fortissimo of the world. A piano Sunday meditation where the hammers barely kiss the wire. It is the sound of a soul settling into the arms of the Good Shepherd. A Catholic lullaby for those who have finished the race and kept the faith. The choir's volume tapers to a holy murmur, the sound of wind through the cypress trees of a Mediterranean graveyard. Here, the sorrow is no longer a jagged flint, but a polished river stone, smooth to the touch and heavy with the weight of a life well loved. We are the stewards of this resonance, the keepers of the flame that refuses to be quenched by the coming night. The eighth and final resolution is a monumental architecture of sound, a cathedral of voices built upon the firm foundation of the piano's deep pedal tones. It is 7:30 now, and the darkness outside is absolute. Yet within these walls, the music has ignited a fire that the night cannot comprehend. We grab expands to the limits of the vaulted ceiling, an explosion of Christian certainty that mocks the finality of the grave. We stand in the debris of our own mortality and sing a defiance of the shroud, a beautiful and terrible joy. The seventh song is a stillness that speaks louder than the fortissimo.
The great pipes groan with the weight of ancient stone, inhaling the dust of centuries to exhale the breath of the living word. Under the vaulted ribs of the nave, the diapason swells, a thundering heartbeat that precedes the first footfall of the faithful. It is the melody of Bunison, a tune forged in the mist of the Hebrides, rising now like a slow-burning sun over the granite altar. The organist pulls the stops of history, and the music becomes a physical architecture, a sanctuary made of air and vibration, where the spirit may finally unbuckle its heavy armor. Here, the silence is not an absence, but a preparation, a clearing of the inner thicket so that the word may walk among the trees of our thoughts.
Christ be the compass when the needle of the soul spins wildly in the magnetic storm of the world. Beside me, He is the unyielding wall of diamond that deflects the arrows of the noonday devil. Before me, He is the pillar of cloud that makes a path through the trackless desert of the mundane. The choir begins its ascent, their voices weaving a tapestry of polyphonic certainty, layering the air with the scent of frankincense and the texture of worn velvet. Each syllable of the lorica is a stitch in a celestial breastplate, binding the heart to the hearth of the Trinity. There is no space where He is not, for the music proves that even the gaps between the notes are filled with His intentional grace. In the mouth of the stranger, Christ is the sudden warmth of an unexpected welcome. In the eye of the friend, He is the light that does not flicker when the shadows grow long. The hymn moves with a pastoral rhythm, a gentle swaying of wheat in a sanctified wind. Yet it carries the weight of a mountain. To sing Bunison is to acknowledge the morning of the world, the primal moment when the Creator first hummed the universe into being. The choir's unison is a declaration of singular purpose, a gathered strength that says, we are not orphans of the stars, but children of a Father who walks the dusty roads of our daily failures. Beneath the soles of my feet, Christ is the bedrock that does not crumble, that does not crumble. When the floods of sorrow rise to the chin above me, He is the vaulted sky, the limit of my ambition, and the floor of my ultimate hope. The organ's pedal tones vibrate in the marrow of the bone, reminding the flesh that it was made from the red clay of the earth and destined for the golden light of the resurrection. There is a sacred geometry in this protection. It is a circle that excludes nothing but fear, a boundary that marks the soul as the sovereign territory of the King. The melody repeats, circling the altar of the mind, refining the will until the self is but a transparent window for the eternal light to pass through. As the final stanza gathers its breath, the choir expands into a glorious dissonance that resolves into a peace, passing all understanding. Christ be in my sleeping, Christ be in my waking, the constant rhythm of a heart that has found its home. The last chord of the organ does not truly end. It merely retreats into the stones of the cathedral, a latent resonance that will hum within the silence of the week to come. The lyrics remain etched upon the inner eyelid, a vision of a Savior who is both the shield on the arm and the path under the feet. When the doors swing open to the glare of the street, we carry the Bunison dawn within us, a secret armor of song that no clamor of the city can ever truly pierce.
The hammer strikes the wire. In a cathedral of felt and spruce, where the piano begins its solitary pilgrimage, a soft descent of notes like rain falling upon the dry parchment of the soul. There is a quietude in the ivory keys, a deliberate pacing of Arbelator's vision that counts the heartbeats of the weary before the first word is ever uttered. Then comes the violin, a slender reed of wood and resin, weeping upward in a glissando that's the distance between the earth and the firmament. It does not merely play a melody, it sighs the ancient longing of the Anima Christi, pulling a silver thread through the silence, vibrating with the tension of a spirit that is both broken and being mended. This is the prelude to the indwelling, the preparation of the vessel for the wine and the water that are about to flow from the side of the transcendent. Soul of Christ, be the breath within my own lungs, a sanctification that moves not as a concept, but as a tangible warmth spreading through the marrow. The choir rises now, the Bucas Palette Collective, a tapestry of voices that carries the weight of 1,000 Sundays, and the intimacy of a single whispered confession. Their harmony is the architecture of mercy, building a roof of song over the listener, where every alto's depth and every soprano's light serves to illuminate the darkness of the human condition. Body of Christ, save me, not from the world, but within it, becoming the very substance of my resilience. The piano ripples underneath like the surface of a disturbed pool, reflecting the fractured light of grace, while the violin sustains a high, shimmering note that feels like the very edge of a cloud touched by the setting sun. Blood of Christ, inebriate me. Let the vintage of the cross wash away the thirst for things that do not satisfy. There is a holy intoxication in this movement, a rhythmic ebb and flow, where the percussion of the piano's lower register grounds. The celestial flight of the voices, water from the side of Christ wash me. Not merely a cleansing of the skin, but a deluge for the interior deserts, a river finding its way through the canyons of the heart's hidden grievances. The music swells here, the violin becoming more urgent, its vibrato a pulse of desperation and hope intertwined. It is the sound of the spear wound becoming a portal, an invitation to hide within the cleft of the rock. Oh, passion of Christ, strengthen me, for the journey is long and the mountain is steep, and only the memory of the suffering God can provide the fortitude to endure the silence of the Saturday tune. Oh, good Jesus, hear me. Let the prayer transition from a liturgical rite into a desperate rhythmic breathing. Within thy wounds hide me. Let the jagged edges of thy pain be the sanctuary where my own scars find their resonance and their rest. The choir's voice is thick, a wall of sound that is neither harsh nor heavy, but enveloping like a shroud made of light. Do not permit me to be parted from thee. The piano insists with a recurring motif,
stubborn insistence of grace that refuses to let go of the hem of the garment. From the malignant enemy defend me, from the shadows that whisper of unworthiness and the cold winds of abandonment. The violin now dances in a counterpoint of protection, a soaring bird circling the fortress of the melody, warding off the night with a frantic, beautiful clarity. In the hour of my death, call me and bid me come to thee, that with thy safe sign may praise thee forever and ever. The music begins its long, translucent fade. The voice is thinning into a singular, holy vibration. The violin returns to its lowest string, a resonant, woody hum that mimics the settling of the earth, while the piano offers one final crystalline chord that hangs in the air like incense in an empty nave. This is the Bucas palette, the open hand, surrendering the song back to the silence from which it was born. The lyrics have dissolved into the atmosphere, leaving only the scent of the sacred and the lingering vibration of a soul that has, for a few minutes, been fused with the divine. The final note is not an end, but a door left slightly ajar, through which the light of the soul of Christ continues to pour into the quiet rooms of our ordinary lives. In the deepening amethyst of the seventh hour, when the Sabbath sun leans low against the leaded glass, the silence settles upon the nave like the weight of ancient water. Here, the clock counts not in seconds but in heartbeats, marking the threshold where the day's labor dissolves into the vesperal glow. We gather, a collective of lungs and longing, positioned in the tired shadows, where the wood of the pew smells of lemon oil and the prayers of 1,000 previous Sundays. The air is thick with the residue of incense and the cooling heat of the afternoon, a physical suspension waiting for the first vibration.
The amber wick of the Sabbath day flickers low against the salt-crusted window pane, where the dust of a week's labor settles in the silence of the nave. It is 7 in the evening, and the shadows are long and lean, like the mast of ghost ships docked in the harbor of our weariness. We stand in the half-light, 4 voices woven into a single rope of sound, waiting for the vibration that begins not in the throat, but in the ancient rhythmic pull of the moon upon the marrow. There is a rustle of sheet music, a sound like dry leaves on a beach, before the first note rises from the wooden floorboards to claim the air. The call is not a thunderclap, but a whisper of shifting silt, an invitation carved in the wet sand of a heart that has forgotten how to swim. Walk with me away from the paved certainties of the town, away from the locked gates and the ledger books, toward the place where the horizon loses its hem and the sky bleeds into the brown.